Go. All right, and we got the
Picture. Everything should be good. Yes. Welcome everybody. It's good to have you guys. We're doing another live bootcamp. Let me just make sure that the folks on the page, listenuniversity.com/tuneup7, can check us out. Oh yeah, looks like everything is good. All right. Cool. Welcome everybody. It's your coach, Borino. Welcome to another great bootcamp. I'm really excited today. We're going to have a good time together. Let me just turn off the picture here. I have it running on the big computer. Ooh, there's a lot of audio going on there, huh? Let me see. Can you guys hear me okay? Is the sound all right? Yes? Good. All right. Now, let me make sure this is on, and we're going to get going. We have a busy session. I know there was a little bit of an echo, so let me turn that off. That should be off. Let me turn it off here as well. Hold on just a second. Yeah. All right, so now the audio should be good. You guys should see both cameras, and we are ready to rock and roll. My name is Borino. For those of you that haven't had a chance to meet me or haven't had a chance to meet you, welcome. We do these coaching sessions, private coaching sessions for you guys who are my subscribers, my friends, my clients, students, whether you have one of my products or not. We do this for your benefit. There are some ideas we discuss. It's like a brainstorming session. It's a Q&A session. And it's a session for you to bring up any questions, issues, barriers, or obstacles you're dealing with. Any situation where you need a little bit of help, a little bit of knowledge, or some tips, or maybe some role play, some dialogues, whatever is blocking you, we usually take care of these. And we move pretty swiftly, we move quickly, because we got a whole bunch of people who dialed in that have questions, a whole bunch of people who want to chat with me, so we're going to do that. All right? So if you want to talk to me, here is the information for you. You're going to dial 805-399-1200. Then the code for this teleseminar or this broadcast is 143153. Then you got to hit the pound. And then if you have a specific question that you want answered, you want to chat, you want to role play, or you want to talk to me, you're going to hit *6 on your phone. That's going to put you in my queue. I'm going to put you live online. Now be ready. If you're watching this on YouTube or on the Listing University page, there is about 60-second delay, because we're broadcasting this live to YouTube servers, and it takes about 60 seconds for them to process and broadcast it live. So it's going to mess with your head. So what I recommend is either close the page while we're talking, or at least turn off your computer audio so you're just listening to me on the phone. And with that, we're going to get started. I want to get started with an email I received from my man, Michael. And here's what Mike writes to me. I'm trying not to lose my cool, but I'm getting frustrated. What is the psychology around the sellers who continue to relist with the same listing agent? Call me crazy, but that makes absolutely no sense to me. Loyalty is cool, but after experiencing twice, marketing time 7+ months, what more can that agent do that they haven't already done? It's not like the agent will all of a sudden start marketing. They would have done that the first place and failed. What is it? Michael? Orland Park, Illinois. That's a really good question, Mike. What is it? Why do some people keep doing the same thing over and over, even though the result is clear that it doesn't work for them? And that's the definition of insanity that Einstein had, didn't it? If you try to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that would be insane. And why some sellers still do that. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to give you some tips. This gives you quite a bit of an insight to the seller psychology. What's going on in their crazy heads of theirs? When there is a conflict between what the seller wants and what they say they want, or what they tell you, or what they tell their agent, and what the results are that they're getting, always pay attention to the results they're getting, their actions, because their actions are consistent. Now, this may happen consciously, or this may happen subconsciously. So let me illustrate that for you. We're going to go to the big-ass board here and draw it out. Okay? So here's Mr. Seller with their property. And they're saying, we want to sell. That's our intention. So we're going to list with an agent. But look at the results they're getting. Not sell, right? Stay where they are. So what is it they really want, or why are they doing that? There is something going on a deeper level. And this is very often something that even the seller may not be consciously aware of. There's a deep-rooted cause that's causing them to take very consistent steps not to sell, not to sell, not to sell. Stay in the house. And if you're not sure what is it the sellers really want, always look at their actions, because they clearly lead to a very clear result, very consistent result. Now, why would somebody go on the market, say they want to move, they may even pick an agent, they may pick a property, all that, and yet stay there? If it clearly doesn't work for them, and if you use common sense, you can analyze the situation. What is it? It can be several things, and you can't really guess this. This is something you really must determine by talking to the sellers, if you have enough rapport with them to determine. And the interesting part is many times they don't even know that. They're not even aware of this, because they think the decisions they make are rational, logical decisions. They're not. They're emotional decisions. So what are some of the emotions that can block them from making the move and moving somewhere else? It can be they're emotionally attached to the house. They're having a hard time let go, especially if this is an older couple. They raise their children there. They have memories. It's not that easy to let go of some of these folks. It can be something very different, but it is always a deep-rooted psychological reason why they don't really want to move, even though they say they do. Because the result clearly indicates they want to stay. And I know it's sometimes crazy, but that's really what it is. Notice that some sellers will take relevant steps not to sell. And they justify it by logical decisions like overpricing the property, hiring the wrong agent, not doing what needs to be done to make the property marketable so it sells. Now again, many of these decisions are not reasonable, logical decisions. They're subconscious decisions. They're emotional decisions. But they're solid decisions nevertheless, because that's the result they're getting. So it can be a property attachment, it can be whatever other issue that they may be dealing with. And many times they don't even know that. They think they want to move, but they don't. So you, as a good agent, Borino student, what do you do with a seller like that? Well, there are a couple of things you can do. You can help them get very, very clear what is it that they really want. This is why having a discussion with them, using stuff like the power questions with them, is so important, because it helps them clarify. It helps them gain clarity with your help to what is it that really is their core driving emotion. Because it is never about the bigger house, smaller house, living in a different neighborhood. Those are the surface reasons. They're right here. Those are the conscious reasons. But there are reasons underneath it, the subconscious reasons, that really drive them. That's why we call it the core driving emotion. Because every decision they first made that is triggered by an emotion. If you like something, that's an emotion. If you don't like something, that's an emotion. If you're afraid of something, if something makes you angry, if something makes you excited, those are all emotions that drive people. And there are only two driving forces that make all your clients move. Either they're getting away from something painful, okay? So they're getting away from pain, or they're trying to gain some pleasure. Now, the pain driver overrides the pleasure driver if they're in conflict. It is stronger. We have a built-in mechanism to avoid pain, emotional pain and physical pain. Excuse me. I'm getting a little cold. Can you hear it in my voice? But the show must go on. Rockstar Borino with you. All right, so these folks are trying to get away from pain and trying to gain some pleasure. So now let's look at that. In their mind, they create constructs, links and relationships to things that are not related, that have no meaning, but in their head. And we do that. All of us do that, not just your sellers. We create constructs, something that we believe will cause pain and something we believe will cause pleasure. To them, there is either not enough pleasure, not enough pull to live somewhere else, or not enough pain to get away. Or it can be a combination of moving and living somewhere else creates so much subconscious pain, psychological pain, hassle, whatever construct they believe in, they're not willing to take the journey with you or with somebody else. That's why they stick with an agent, because they're getting consistent result to their subconscious programming that they carry, the beliefs that they have. I know it sounds kind of crazy, illogical, but that's because these are not logical decisions. People don't make logical decisions. They're justified by logic, but always triggered by emotion. So these are the emotions. So now that you know that, your job as the counselor, not a salesperson, not just an average agent who's just there to get a listing, but as a counselor, as a guide, is to figure out what is their core driving emotion. What is the driver? What is the pain and what is the pleasure? Where are they trying to get? How intense it is. That means how motivated they are, how intense it is. The more intensity, the easier it is to work with them, the more rational, logical, and easier to work with they will be. And if it's not there, time to move on. Which brings me to the second point. Never get stuck just on one seller. Never get stuck just on one lead. That's the scarcity mentality, and it can be very, very dangerous. Because if you start buying into, well, there's not enough listings out there, the business is kind of hard, you really have to fight for it, you really have to get your little piece because there is not enough, is very dangerous because you're going to go down a path to scarcity. And then your programming and your drivers and your emotions will create reality that will be consistent with those beliefs. I'm rereading Tony Robbins' book, Unleash the Giant Within, where he talks a lot about how to deal with these beliefs, how to recognize them, and how to eliminate those that no longer serve you. There are no right or wrong beliefs, there are just those that help you get to where you want to be, and those that don't. So you have to do the same thing. You have to acknowledge that there are plenty of people who need your help, plenty of nice people, plenty of people with enough drive to take the relevant step to list with the right agent, sell, and move. Because this is their core drive and emotion. This is linked to their pain and pleasure. And you come in as the solution. You are the bridge between where they are, which is either really painful or there's a pull to live somewhere else that's really powerful and very passionate. And you bridge that connection. You introduce yourself as the solution that will get them there. Because people don't want to talk to you because of the listing. They don't really want to list. They don't even want to move. They don't want to sell. That's not the end goal. There's only one end goal. I'm going to give you a secret to the seller psychology that will help you a lot dealing with clients, dealing with leads. The only reason they want to do all this, take all these steps, because the construct they have is they're going to feel better. It's going to feel better. It's going to be either relief from the pain or tons of pleasure that they will gain by living close to the family, having a home with a view, living on a quiet street, having a spacious house, or having a small, cozy house. See, homes and situation itself doesn't mean anything. It's the construct that they have in their head and their heart, their soul really, that makes them take the relevant steps with you. Okay? A lot of good insight that will help you deal with these situations with the sellers. But also remember that not everybody wants to move, even though they say they do. Not everybody has enough of the core driving emotion. There's not enough drive behind it. So that's why you need to constantly look for new people. And there are plenty of them out there who need your help. Sellers, buyers, especially right now in the spring market. All right? Mike, I hope that answered your question. I hope that helped you. And with that, let's take our first phone call. How are you guys? Having a good time? All right. So if you want to talk to Borino, hit *6 on your phone, and that will put you in a Q&A. I'm going to put the Q&A mode right now. So all you have to do is just hit *6 on your phone. It's going to pop here on my screen. You're going to be put in the queue. I'm going to bring you live, and we're going to chat. What do you say? And we got a first call. Hey, this should be Doug if my caller ID here is right. Is this Doug? Can you hear me, Doug? Hello, Doug?
No, there's an Eric. Can you hear me?
Oh, is this Eric?
Yeah, okay, you got me.
Eric, good morning. Hey, my caller ID says here it's a Doug. How you doing, man?
Good. I do a lot of telemarketing and calling on expireds. And,
I can tell you got a good voice. You got one of those radio voices.
Thank you, and I've had good experience over the last few years doing it. One of the big questions I have is I'm in a tight market right now in New York, and it's really a seller's market, and so the expireds are drying up a little. But one of the big questions I get that I like to get your answer to is, you call them, you get them on the phone, and they go, "Do you have a buyer, or are you looking for the listing?" As the first question, if you get them on the phone, do you have a buyer, or are you just looking for the listing?
Okay, are you talking? You're calling an expired listing?
Correct.
All right. You will hear that a lot from for sale by owners, sellers in general. My suggestion would be, before they get to that question, you
Well,
establish...
that's usually the first question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No worries. What I would suggest is take control of the conversation from the very beginning.
But that's their first question.
Okay, you ask the first question. And a human brain, cannot do two things at the same time. Either it can focus on the answering your question, or it formulates a question for you, but it cannot do both. So if I start with a conversation, and I'll say something like, this is Eric, right?
Yes.
All right, Eric. So let's try this. I'm calling an expired listing. Eric, hey, it's Borino with Remax. I'm probably not the first one calling about your house, huh?
No, you're not.
No,
Are you an agent?
Yes. Are you getting a lot of calls from real estate agents about the home?
I've gotten a few.
Yeah, kind of crazy. All of a sudden, first, not many people call, and now everybody wants to list your house. Where were they when the house was up for sale, huh? Eric, let me ask you, have you relisted the house yet?
No,
No?
no, I haven't relisted it yet.
Are you going to? What are your plans?
Well, I don't really know right now. You know, I was working with the agent. I don't really know why it didn't sell.
Bummer. Would you like to find out? Would that be helpful so you don't make the same mistake twice in the future?
No, I like that. Yeah. No, I see what you're
See,
saying.
I'm
Good.
staying in control of the conversation. I'm having a decent... I'm not pressuring you. I'm not pushing or anything. And if the question does pop up, I would say, I don't know yet. Let me stop by and take a quick look at it. First, I need to see it, obviously. Based on the MLS description, it's a lovely house. I'm really surprised it didn't sell. But if nothing else, I'll give you an idea why it didn't sell so you don't make the same mistake twice again. You see how it works?
Right. No, I see that.
Now, I tell you where this comes from. Practice. Practice. It's not that I'm such a script genius or a dialogue master.
No,
You know what I mean?
to be honest with you, I've gotten 23 listings in 2 years exactly doing what you're doing on expires. So
Yeah.
I'm not too bad at it. The only thing is you know, when I first call, I just need to, you know, I say, hello, I'm calling from, I'm calling from, are you so-and-so? You know, it's regarding your property. Have you, I see a property was listed with so-and-so, and it was listed at, 3.5, so they know it's not a scam. They can see that I'm calling. They can
Sure.
see their name.
There is one small...
3.5, have you sold, why didn't it sell?
Yeah.
You know.
There's one small problem with that approach, Eric.
Yeah.
You sound like every other agent. And what happens is, in their head, instantly the defense goes up. Here's another agent who is just after my listing. So my job, number one, I have about 3 seconds at the beginning of the conversation, sometimes less, to differentiate myself. So the conversation is more laid back. I purposely avoid any terms that may indicate another agent. It's more like, have we met before? Is this a friend? Do we know each other? Are we an acquaintance? I want them to, in the back of their head, to have that feeling as if we've talked before and it's no big deal.
Right. So what do you say as your opening pitch when they say hello?
I say, this is Borino. Is this Eric? This is Borino with ABC Real Estate. I'm probably not the first one calling about your house, am I? And I laugh a little. I lighten it up a little.
Oh, right.
That's my opening. And they say, no, you're not. And then I take away their objection that they tried to throw at me. I say, kind of crazy, isn't it? All these agents calling you out of nowhere. Where were they when the house was up for sale? Now they can't ask me the same question back.
Yeah, I see that. Right.
Because they would try to tell me, well, where were you when the house was up for sale? Now they can't. It wouldn't make sense.
Well, I see that for FSBOs, but a lot of times on expireds, if it's tough to get the phone number, and I just have ways of getting the phone number, but if I get the phone number, I may be the first person that calls.
It doesn't matter. See, here's the beautiful thing about this script. It doesn't matter. Because if they say, yes, you're the first one, you just continue. Well, let me ask you, have you guys relisted the house? It doesn't matter. I pay attention to the answers, but they don't change the construct of the dialogue. Because then I continue and I start asking questions, where would they like to go? And then one of the best questions you can ask, especially right now, especially if they tell you, well, we're going to think about it, what that really means is we don't trust you.
Right.
We don't know you from Adam, you're just another salesperson to us right now. So the way you set that up is, Eric, let me ask you, hypothetically, let's just imagine a buyer walks into your home tomorrow with a suitcase full of cash and they fall in love with it just like you guys did the first time you saw the property. What would you do?
Well, I'd sell it to them.
Boom. So what do I know by that answer?
Well, for the right price, they're ready. They're ready to sell.
Bingo. Now let me tell you a thing about the price. I don't know if you can see the screen behind me. If these two things are in place, the pain and pleasure, price becomes irrelevant. If their core drive and emotion is strong, price is irrelevant. Why do I say that? Seller doesn't set the price. Seller has no control over price. Now, that's not something you discuss over the phone when you first meet them. That's something you go over during your listing presentation.
Right.
But if they have a strong core driving emotion, price is not an issue.
Right.
It is not about the price. You already know. You don't set the price. The seller doesn't set the price. Only buyer and the bank will set the price. End of conversation. The only choice they make is, do we want to move or do we want to stay? How strong is this pull? Push. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it is strong. Yeah,
You
in
know?
this case, it's strong.
So your first job is just to determine what is the core driving emotion, what is pulling them, what is pushing them, how intense it is, and how you position yourself as the solution to that. You're not a salesperson, and you do that by establishing high status from the beginning. And you, my students, you guys have heard me talk about high status for a long time. It is the strongest differentiating factor that will completely separate you from the needy, average agent desperate for a listing. Because you now have a position of a counselor, a guide, an advisor.
May I ask one more question that's related to this?
Please do.
Okay. If you don't get them on the phone, and a lot of times today, people use emails, it's getting actually tougher to cold call or even call expires because people don't pick up the phone. What message do you leave as a first message when you leave a voicemail, or do you?
No, first I do not. Especially if the number is a cell phone. And the psychology behind it is, you know how you sometimes get a call from somebody you don't know, and you dial back just to find out who called you?
Yeah.
Same thing here.
Well,
now, if you try 2 or 3 times and there is no answer, the message should be really simple. Hey, Eric Borino with ABC Real Estate. If you still want to sell your house, please call me back as soon as possible. 1-800-573-8493.
oh, right. That's a good one because it puts something in their mind. Well, geez, you might have a buyer.
Bingo.
Might have-
Now, here's the thing about the buyers. If it's a nice property, if it's a good listing, and if it's priced well, could you generate a buyer quickly? Yes or no?
Of course.
Of course. So getting a buyer is not an issue. And if they start questioning, you tell them, buyer is the least of our worries. There are plenty of buyers are a dime a dozen these days. So getting the right buyer is just the first step on the journey. We want to make sure they're qualified. We want to make sure we close the deal. We want to make sure nobody gets sued, no hassles. It's a smooth, quick transaction. That's where my expertise is. Getting a buyer, not that hard.
We have lots of buyers. We have lots of buyers. And
So-
then what would you say? You wouldn't say that's the least of our. You wouldn't
I would say that's the least of our worries, is to get a buyer these days. The market is packed with buyers. There's plenty of money going around. There's plenty of people who want to buy a property. Wouldn't worry about the buyer. Getting a buyer, not that hard.
Right.
Making sure it's the right buyer, they're qualified, make sure we close the deal, make sure it's no hassles, no lawsuits, no problems. That's what we got to focus on. And make sure you're out of here in the time frame that works for you guys. We can do it very quickly, or we can accommodate whatever your circumstances are. But first I need to know if we even like each other.
Oh, right.
Because what if we don't? We can't do business together if we don't get along, if we don't trust each other. I don't know you yet. I don't know if I'm going to get along with you.
I like that. I don't know if I'll get along with you.
What am I doing? I'm turning it.
You're turning it around.
Exactly. Now they have to qualify to me. Now, there is a big problem with this approach. You can't fake it.
Yeah, of course.
Because the moment you start faking this, they see right through it, that it's a spiel, that it's a pitch. So you have to be authentic, you have to be genuine, and you can tell them, and you say it with a smile. You don't have to be super serious. But one of the lines I always use, and I don't want to call it a line, but you get my point.
Right.
I say, look, I have 2 rules. I only work with people I like and they like me, and I only list properties I know I can sell. That's it. So the first thing we got to do is get together for a couple of minutes, shake hands, good old-fashioned way, and let's see what happens. Maybe we'll get along, maybe we'll click, maybe we won't. No big deal.
Right.
As opposed to every other agent who says, we have buyers and we are number 1 in the area and I sold bajillion homes in the... Who gives a
Right.
shit? Nobody cares.
They'll turn you right off.
Exactly. Immediately they perceive it. Salesperson, pitch, get off the phone. What's the first thing they will tell you? We don't know what we're going to do. We're going to list with the same agent. We're going to... I don't know what other cacamamie reasons they give you, but underneath it all, it means just one thing. We don't trust you. We don't want to deal with you. End of conversation.
Would you ever say, if you make at some point say, when you make an appointment, or just so you have a little more comfort level, allow me to give you my website, especially if you're dealing with an agent, or in my sense, I'm with a team that has quite a strong track record and presence at our company. So
I don't think it's
would you
time for
direct-
it. Yeah, no, I don't think that the timing is off. There is a place for it. When they're starting to make a decision and you're a contestant, then yes. But at the beginning, what I would go for, Eric, is let's just meet for a couple of minutes. I'll take a quick look at your property. You're going to give me a 5-minute tour. We'll talk, and then we'll decide. What's our next step?
Okay, right. Make some suggestions to better position the property.
And you can make some suggestions. You can even give them some ideas why you think the property hasn't sold, which I think would be helpful.
Complimentary basis.
Exactly. And just be the consultant. Make it quick. The idea behind the personal meeting is it's got to be swift. You cannot linger, gush, talk too much. You're moving swiftly. They give you a 5-minute tour because, again, you're a high-status busy agent. You know, and again, one of the things I say again is, you know, there are so many sellers, only one me. And I just let it sit. Now, I don't know many other agents who would say things like that.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Suddenly, their brain goes, ooh, different. What other agent would go, I got 5 minutes? They would sit there and blow smoke up their ass for 2 hours if that's what it takes to get a listing. Again, different mentality. Scarcity mentality, not enough listings, got to fight for them. Plenty of business, plenty of good sellers, plenty of opportunities, tons of money to be made. It's all in here.
Good.
It's very much a mind game. Very much a mind game. Make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And I like your initial approach and what you say in the beginning and what you leave on the message. Good.
Yeah. Now, you will not get everybody, no matter what you say, so don't beat yourself up. You know what I mean?
No, of course not.
You already know that, Eric. You've been doing a lot of calls.
It's a numbers game.
It's a total numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more money you're going to make. Really direct equation.
Absolutely. You want the phone to ring. You want to create some energy, and they can feel it in your voice.
Exactly. Because when you're having a good time and you're passionate and you're optimistic, it's contagious. It's hard to stay grumpy and ornery and negative if you're just having a good time and you're passionate and you believe you can help them.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
Which makes a huge difference.
No, you're right.
That's really good. Now, the second point to that is, of course, you want to go to the face-to-face meeting as soon as possible.
Right.
You know, you want to segue to that, and you risk reverse it very easily by setting a time constraint. Where one of their fear is, oh, this dude's going to spend an hour telling me how fabulous his company is and all that bullshit they don't want to hear. So you set a time constraint saying, we're going to take 5 minutes to chat. Immediately the fear is dissolved. We're going to get together for 5 minutes. I'll take a quick look at your property. You give me a quick tour, and then we'll see.
Yeah, maybe that works in a house, but in New York it would be a little tough. You know, you go, because, you know, typically, then the success, you know, I've had here, it's not me. All I do is I work with good teams that have a strong track record. And when I go there, they have a listing pitch. And when they go there, they have done a full market analysis. They've checked all the pictures. They've seen what the last agent did right or not right. So when they come in, they can suggest totally complimentary, you know, and they'll spend some time with them, and you know, and the people on the other end understand that, you know. I mean, if I'm getting through A, B, and C the way you're presenting it on the phone, and they're talking to me, the whole thing is to get them to open up. Once they open up, once they're talking, I'm making a lot of notes, and I'm halfway home. It's just as you say, the first minute or 3 seconds is the key. That's
the key. That's the most important part of the whole conversation. Because what happens is, in the first 3 seconds, their brain, their croc brain, the most primitive part of our brain that has developed 285 million years ago that keeps us alive, is the first one that kicks in. And it kicks in and makes only 2 simple decisions. Are you a threat or not? And if you can establish enough comfort level within the first few seconds, and the information starts flowing from the croc brain to your neocortex, you got them. Especially if the comfort level starts rising. It's going to come down to just one word. Trust. Trust.
Absolutely.
Your job at the beginning is establish a high level of trust. Now, that's a mastery on the phone, and it takes some skill and some practice.
Sure.
But it can be done. You want to make them feel on the phone as if this conversation's been going on for a long time, you had conversations before, and it's no big deal.
Exactly. Right.
Because there's no threat at the end. Because even if what you want is to meet with them is a benefit to them, and there is no threat, there is no negative side to that, why would they say no? Especially if they have a high core driving emotion they want to move.
Yes, that's very good.
I mean, think about it this way. Many of these folks still want to sell, especially now with the spring market kicking in. There'll be a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, and I'll give you guys in just a moment some strategies to really tap into that market. But look at it this way. They want to move. They want your advice. They need your help. They just don't want to be sold. They don't want to make the wrong decision. They don't want to pick the wrong agent. That's what they're afraid of. It's not that they don't want to move. They do. Many of them do. But you have to understand their biggest fear. They already got burned before, especially with expireds.
Yeah,
So
right.
they don't want to get screwed again. That's their fear. So if you can overcome their fear and introduce enough comfort and trust, they want to help. They need help. They're looking for a good agent, actively or passively.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm listening. That's good.
Good. Anything else?
Not really. I just have to digest what you're saying is good. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. I like your opening pitch much better than mine.
Good. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes.
I will.
All right? Shoot me an email. Let me know. Good.
Yeah.
That's real estate rockstar from New York, Mr. Eric. And let's see who we have next. Thanks for the call, Eric. Really appreciate it. Good chatting with you, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Welcome to the show. Who is this? Hi, it's Borino.
This is Frank from Chicago.
Frank from Chicago. How you doing, my man?
Great. How about yourself?
I'm freezing here in Virginia. How's the weather in Chicago?
It's a little bit better. We've had a really rough winter.
Man,
really rough winter.
Where is the spring they promised me? I left Hermosa Beach after 25 years, came here to Virginia thinking it's going to be lovely spring. Bullshit. It's cold. It's horrible.
Yeah, we've had some really tough temperatures and a lot of snow.
Uh-huh.
So
Same
it's
here,
getting
yeah.
a little warmer now and starting to all melt.
Nice.
Today we're in like the upper 30s.
How can I help you, Frank?
Anyway, my question, as far as the expireds go, I usually don't call them because a lot of them are on the do not call list. So what I'll do is I'll end up going to their house, which is fine, whatever. I'll go to their house, and a lot of times I'll get the objection of they want to use the same agent they used before, or
Yes.
they already have an agent. What's the best way you use to overcome that objection?
That's an excellent question, Frank. So you talk to these people. By the way, going there in person is a really powerful method. Why? It's what we just talked about with Eric. It is a great, fast way to establish trust and rapport quickly. Face-to-face is by far the most powerful, fastest way to build that trust, build a connection with the seller. So you're on the right track.
Okay.
When you hear a thing like, we're going to relist with the same agent, what they're usually saying, Frank, is not, we're going to relist with the same agent, but we don't trust you yet. That's really what they're saying. The issue is not the listing, the issue is trust. Here is why. When was the last time you personally, or you guys watching this, had a listing? The listing expired, the contract ended, but the seller says, oh, don't worry about it, give us 2, 3, 4 weeks, we're going to relist with you again. Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, just happened about a month ago.
To your listing?
Yeah.
You had a listing, it expired, and then you renewed it like 3, 4 weeks later?
No, I didn't renew it yet. He said, I want to renew it when it gets a little bit warmer. I think the weather's affecting it.
It is not something that normally happens at all. When usually you have a listing and it's about to expire, let's say you were priced it a little bit, or the seller is pain in the butt, we're going to try our market, we're going to try our price or whatever. What usually happens is you renew the contract. You don't let it expire and let it sit there so somebody else can snag it from you, right? If you have enough connection with the seller, if the relationship is good, and if their core drive and emotion, their motivation is high, you just extend the listing or renew the listing by doing it all over again, but you don't give it a big gap in between. It just doesn't happen. Most agents don't do that.
Yeah, usually it doesn't happen.
It does not happen. So
with this guy, I'm questioning his motivation anyway.
exactly. That's usually one of the two problems. Either there is not enough connection with the other agent or not enough motivation. There is no other reason. So when the seller tells you we're going to relist with the same agent, what they often mean is we're going to relist with the same agent unless somebody better comes along that we like better, that we trust better, that we respect more. Now this, again, the decisions that sellers make are not conscious, logical decisions. They're only justified by conscious, logical reasons. It's an emotional decision. And it's always an issue of trust. They like you, trust you, and respect you. Every single listing you, Frank, and you guys ever gotten was because the people liked you, trusted you, or respect you. That's it. And the reason you didn't get the listing is because they didn't like you, trust you, and respect you. There was somebody else they liked more, they respected more, and they trusted more. That's the core. That's what's underneath every decision they make. So now knowing that, what can you do?
Right.
Reasoning with them saying things like, well, what do you expect the other agent to do different this time? Everything that was done or everything that should have been done was already done. You can have these objection handlers. You can use those. The problem is they're not very effective. Now, why they're not effective? Because they're not really addressing the real issue. You understand what I'm saying? So the best way to approach it is let them tell you that, and all you do is say, well, good for you. It's good to have somebody you can trust. But let me ask you, and you continue the dialogue. Because through the dialogue, and especially through using the power questions, you will determine the connection, you will determine the pain and pleasure, and you will determine their core drive and emotion. And not only once you determine this, you can use it in your communication. It's a very powerful way of talking to them. So now you can say things like, well, Frank, I know being near your family in Florida is really important to you guys. I know it seems like that's really the core reason why you want to be there. So if you could have it anyway, imagine I'm the Harry Potter and I have a magic wand here and I can just go whoosh and make anything happen. Would you rather stay here or would you be better off in Florida? Be with your family, enjoy the summer down there, hang out. What would be better for you guys?
Moving to Florida, of course.
Be in Florida. Now imagine somebody walks tomorrow into your house, they fall in love with it, just like you guys did the first time you saw it, and they want to buy it. They're ready to buy. Are you ready to sell? Are you ready to move? Are you ready to let go of all this? I know you've been here for 15 years. That's a long time. What would you do?
Sell it.
So, then let's make it happen. So here's what we're going to do, Frank. Let's get together tomorrow for about 20, 30 minutes. We're going to meet in my office and we'll go over everything. I will show you what is the most a qualified buyer would be willing to pay for your property right now. How long would it take to sell realistically? And how much cash you're going to put in your pocket once we're done. Maybe we can go over some improvements that may be good to do so that the buyer's really excited. They don't think like, oh, there are a lot of repairs that we need to do. And if you're interested, I'll show you some marketing I do to get these buyers here quickly. And then we'll decide. Maybe we'll decide to work together. Maybe we'll click. Maybe we'll like each other. Maybe we won't. Who knows? But I promise you one thing. By the time we're done, you're going to walk away with plenty of good information. See, what I found, Frank, is much easier to make decisions once you know where you stand, once you have all the answers. I'm not there to pressure you. This is not really about pressure. I know some agents will try to get the listing, but that's not how I work. So let's meet tomorrow, go over everything, and then we'll decide what we're going to do next. Sounds good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, why would they say no to that?
If there was any reason, it would be because they're just not motivated enough. They really don't want to sell.
Bingo. That's exactly right. But if they have a genuine desire to live somewhere else, you removed all the fear, you removed all the risk, you set a time constraint so they know they don't have to sit through some 2 hours of painful, boring presentations that some agents still do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if they don't really want to sell, you don't want that listing anyway.
Exactly.
The minute you do get an offer, it's gonna be like pulling teeth, even if it's a good offer.
Exactly. And unmotivated seller is a lot worse than not having listings at all. Because they zap your energy, they zap your momentum, they cost you time, they cost you money, they cost you focus. It's pain in the ass. Don't do that. Now be careful. Make sure they really don't have a strong desire to move. They really don't have core drive and emotion, because some sellers, especially for sale by owners, are really good at that. They will throw things at you like, we don't really have to sell. And the reason they say that is not because they don't have to sell. They do want to sell. But they have been trained by so many bad salespeople. And they realize that if they throw it out there, most of them just give up, put their hands in the air, and walk away. So it's almost like a test. If you stay with it, and if you really question it, it's just as much a feeling, your intuition, as it is logical analysis of what's going on with the seller situation. Make sense?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Did they answer your question, Frank?
Yeah, it helped a lot.
Good. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. I'll call back if I have any other
Please do. Yeah, absolutely. That's real estate.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for calling in, Frank. Really appreciate you being here. Awesome. Good chatting with you, my man. All right. And we have a next. Is this Louis?
This is Louis.
Louis, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I've been receiving your emails for about a year and a half, and I finally decided to give you a chance here and check out your webinar.
Good deal. I'm glad you made it. You're in my neck of the woods, summer 310 area code. Where are you?
I live in South Torrance.
South Torrance. I was in Hermosa Beach for many years, so You're in my old neighborhood.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I just heard that. That's something else.
Awesome. All right, Luis, how can I help you, my man?
Okay, I have a simple question. Again, I apologize. Maybe you've answered this in other webinars, but all I really want to know is, what do you take when you go to the door of an expired listing? You know, what is it that you take? Because my plan is to go door to door to the expired listings.
Yeah.
So I want to know, what do you take, and is that included in the Expired Plus program that you sell?
Yes. Good question. First of all, yes, it is included. Let me answer the second question first. Yes, you're going to get a complete package. What you're going to get is an expired package. Now, you can put one together yourself. It's really not that hard. I'm a big believer in cheap and simple and effective. Those are the three criteria. You know, it's easy to come up with expensive. It's easy to come up with complicated, but it needs to be effective. But here is, if you're on the budget, here is what you do. You put together a simple package that you can do in one afternoon, really. Here is what goes in it. First, a good cover letter. Nice cover letter that engages them. Now, if you want to use mine, you're welcome to. It uses the picture, the property picture, which is like a good eye catcher, which you want. You want to grab their attention first. So you put it in a big envelope. So first is the cover letter. Sorry, the house didn't sell. This could be you. Big sold on it. Next time, please don't make the same mistake twice. Call me. Risk reversal. No pressure. No hassle. You sign that. Obviously, you need to print the cover letter for each property you go to because it needs to be personalized. That's what makes it stand out. So it's not a templated cookie cutter letter. So that's one. The second thing you're going to include is a brochure. Now, you have a couple of options. With the Expired Plus, you're going to get 2 resumes that go in it. You can either use a little trifold brochure, a little fold up, or a full 8-page document. They both work. They both are good. The advantage of the trifold, of course, it's cheaper, it's easier to produce, it's faster to produce, doesn't take a whole lot. You're going to get a Word document. You just personalize it, drop your photo, drop some testimonials, put some sold properties in the area. That's it. Plus, of course, step-by-step instructions how to do that. So that's the second thing. You're going to add that brochure. That's the anchor. That's the most important payload of your marketing message to the seller. The third thing you want to include is some marketing samples. Anything that you do that's tangible. This doesn't need to be anything fancy or elaborate. If you do nice just listed postcards, just sold postcards, open house invitations, anything that the seller just can't touch because it creates a nice impression, especially if it's in a color. So put 2 or 3 of these together. And the last thing you're going to put there is a market update. Now remember, this is not a CMA specifically targeted to an area or a particular house. Okay? This is just to rekindle hope. That's the purpose of the market update. So you're going to include some active listings, some pendings, some sales. That's it. You want to show the seller, look, other sellers are selling. Other homes are selling. People are moving. It can be done. That's the sole purpose. It is not to determine the value of the property. So you put this together, you put it in an envelope, knock on the expired door, have a little conversation with them. You can use a similar dialogue I use with Eric. Hey, I'm the first one here about your property. If not, no big deal. What are your plans? What if somebody walks in tomorrow? You just go right through it all the way to either an appointment or a follow-up. Okay? And then at the end, you still hold it. You don't hand it to the seller. Why? Because this is the prize. This is something that you may be rewarded with. This is something important. So you don't just needily hand it to them. Oh, look how fantastic this is for you. Look at it. I'm fabulous. Don't do that. You hold it. You have a conversation. Maybe walk through the house. Get a little walkthrough. Ask the power questions. And at the end, you decide what's going to happen next. Listing presentation, listing appointment, follow-up, or you drop them. If you decide to follow up with them, you say, hey, there's some information about myself. I'll keep in touch with you. Looking forward to chatting with you. When you're ready in the 30 days, I'll be happy to sit down and talk to you guys. And then you hand it to them. When they're not home, you're going to leave it there. But you're going to revisit them again. You're going to go back. Because of the market right now, expireds have dropped, right? There are not as many. You can't be as picky. So that means you need to intensify your approach. The days where it used to be just knock on ones, they're not home, no big deal, and off to the next one are gone. And for a while, the market will stay hot. But it also means a good listing now means you're going to get paid because there are a lot of buyers, properties are moving. But you have to go back. Go back at least twice. The best times to go back, can you? Louis, are you still there? I just muted you because there was a little.
I'm still here. I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay, good deal. So here are the best times. You're going to go the day the listing expires. You want to be there Let me just switch the camera so you guys can see the board better. You want to be there as soon as possible. That's really the idea behind it. Okay, so your first visit is the days expired. Go there as soon as possible. Early in the morning, late at night. Pick a time where you have the best chance to reach them there. If it means 8 o'clock in the morning, so be it. If it means 7 o'clock in the evening, so be it. You got to do what it takes to talk to these people, or at least be the first one to talk to them, or one of the first ones. So the first time, days expired. Then 2 days later, 2 days after it expires. So the days expires, then 2 days later you go back. Then you're going to go back Saturday and Sunday in the AM. So that means somewhere around 9 and 12 p.m. So early in the morning on Saturday and on Sunday. And then also on Sunday, late p.m. Late p.m., around 4 or 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Best times to reach people home. Now, if your brain right now is saying, well, I don't want to bother people, and those are kind of a private times and all that, it's just a noise. It's your fear. It's your scarcity mentality. Shut that up. Cut it out. These people need help. If you're a good agent, and I know you guys, I attract good agents. I attract good crowd. I'm blessed by having really good students. It's your opportunity and it's your obligation to help them. So then help them. These are the times to do that. Take the package with you, knock on their door. Now, first day, you're going to leave the package. Okay? That's where you're going to leave there. If they're not there, you're going to leave the package there. Second day, when you revisit them, you're going to leave a note. Simple little note. It can be a little post-it that just says, still interested in selling the house? Please call me as soon as possible. Borino, ABC Real Estate, 800-573-8492. You leave it there. Same thing here. You're going to keep leaving these little notes. All right? So now they have a package. They have a note from you. There's also something else that's going to happen behind, in addition to this. And that's your mail. Mail campaign will start going out. And with the Expired Plus, of course, you're going to get all the letters, all the systems, how soon, how often you should mail to them, what should be said in the letters and all that. So you're going to get all that. So now you're hitting them with personal visits. Even if you don't have the phone number, the mail is going, so you're communicating with them. They're starting to notice you. You're starting to appear on their radar. I assure you, most agents don't have a system like this. So this alone will make you stand out. Maybe they'll call you back, maybe they won't. Maybe you'll reach them, maybe they won't. But you won't know and you won't have anything unless you try. Maybe once you reach them, they go, oh, you're the guy that's been leaving all those notes. You're the guy that sent me the package. You're the guy that dropped off the package. We see your name all over the place, which is something I heard a lot. No, just a good follow-up. That's it. So that's what it takes right now. Now here's the good news. Might as well segue into this. Louis, I hope you won't mind if I touch on that. This works with old expireds just as well. Sometimes even better because they're not as bombarded, they're not as inundated, tough word, by other agents. They're not under the barrage of other agents as much as a new expired would be. Which brings me to the point, where are the leads right now? Go back as far as you possibly can in your MLS and start contacting these old expireds. One of the dialogs you can use if it's applicable in your market is, John, you're actually better off. You're kind of lucky that the property didn't sell. And let it sit. In their head, what question will they have? What do you mean? Why? Well, our market has been appreciating. The prices have been going up, so you guys have a very good chance putting a lot more cash in your pocket. Now, of course, say it only if it's applicable in your market. And then you just let it sit again. What's the next question that you can anticipate? Well, how much do you think we're going to get? Boom, you got them locked in. Well, I'll tell you what, and you segue into the setting up an appointment. Let me take a quick look, 5 minutes. I'll take a quick look, and then we'll get together. We can figure it out. Works really well. Old expired, old canceled listings, old withdrawn listings. Go as far as you can. Okay? We just finished the Double Your Listings Bootcamp, where we generated 1,600 leads. Just doing these steps, doing these things. Worked really, really well. All right, so let me bring Mr. Lewis back. Lewis, can you hear me?
I sure can. Thank you.
Was that helpful? Did that answer your question?
That was exactly what I wanted to know. And yeah, I appreciate that information. Thank you very much.
Good deal. You're very welcome. Thanks for the call. All right. So that was Louis from Torrance, lovely part of Southern California. You guys, if you want to chat with me, here's the number, 805-399-1200. Then the code for this webinar broadcast is 143153. You have to hit the pound. And then if you have a question you want to be put in the queue, hit *6 and we'll talk. All right. Groovy. And let's see, we have somebody else on the phone. Are you guys having a good time? Is this good? These are, I tell you, I like doing these because you guys bring the best questions, the best issues, the best ideas that we can share so that everybody wins. Everybody learns something, that everybody gets inspired and make more money. Mr. Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you, Borino?
I'm doing fantastic. And you, my man?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
All right. Where are you calling from, Mark?
Crystal Lake, Illinois, which is about an hour northwest of Chicago.
Lovely.
Yes. Got a quick question, and this is actually when you're sitting down with sellers.
Yes, sir.
I hear this a lot, and I've got a problem with it because when I've heard this and taken the listing, it never worked out well.
Uh-huh.
And it's just basically 5 words, and it's, we don't have to sell.
Okay.
And I want some advice from you as far as what I try to determine then is their core driving emotion.
Yes.
But how would you respond if you were sitting down with sellers and they just, at some point in time during the presentation, just said, you know, Mark, we don't have to sell? How would you respond, Borino?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Mark, and this is not a pitch for my product, but if you use the Presentation Plus system, you will never get that. And the reason for that is either you wouldn't sit with them at a listing presentation in the first place if they really don't have to sell, or if they do have to sell, this will never come up as an issue. But again, this is not a pitch, but let's just theoretically suppose that this comes up. I'm in the middle of the presentation, or I'm about to say, let's just get the paperwork rolling and let's get going so you guys can be in California in 3 to 4 months.
Sure.
And to which they say, we don't have to sell.
We don't have to sell.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, we would like to sell, but there are certain things that we just might not be willing to do, Mark or Borino.
Well, Mark, let me ask you. In order for you guys to move to California, you decided to sell the house. Am I right or wrong on that?
That is correct, yes.
So that you either want to sell and be in California or you don't. Which one would you prefer?
Well, we would like to move, Borino, but we're looking for a certain price, and, you know, if it falls below that, we probably won't end up selling.
I see. Why would that be? You're better off here then if you don't get a certain amount? I'm just trying to understand, Mark. My job is not to pressure you. I'm not here to make decisions for you, but my job as your guide and as your advisor, first I need to understand where you guys are coming from.
Well, we put a lot of money into the house, Borino, and we just don't want to take too much of a loss on the home.
Oh, I totally understand that. Now, Mark, let me just pause the role play quickly.
Sure.
The reason this conversation is not likely to occur during my presentation is because I walk them through the process called emotional decoupling.
Okay.
Okay? Now, let me give you a quick synopsis how that works, how the dialogue would work. Mark, you guys, and they usually trigger with something like, well, what do you think our home is worth? That's one of the questions, or something like that, to which you reply, Mark, see, that's a really good question. We're not here to determine what your home is worth.
Okay.
That's not why we're here. Your home may be worth $10 million. Because your home means this is where you raised your children, this is where you guys spent Thanksgiving, this is where you had all the Christmas, all the memories, everything that turned these 4 walls from a house into a home are here. And there is no way for me to put a price tag on that. It's impossible.
Okay.
What we will determine is what will a qualified buyer pay. What is the most a qualified buyer will pay for a house just like this one to live in this neighborhood right now? 2 very different things. Because unlike home, house is a commodity. Because once you move out, all you're going to be left out with is 4 bare walls, some windows, doors. And a house, unlike home, has a price tag, a very specific price tag. Just like you guys in California will be shopping for a house with a specific price tag in mind.
Sure.
It's the same thing here. Now, How is the price determined? Very simply. First, the bad news. You or I do not control the price. That's the reality of it. Okay? Who does? Only the buyer and the bank. That's it. Now, let me walk you through it, and I'll show you what a qualified buyer will pay for your house, and then you decide. Maybe you tell me that's not enough, that's impossible for us to make the move, and that makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Maybe you say this is enough, let's make it happen. But the decision you and I need to make today is A, can I help you? And B, is this enough to get you where you want to go? Not how much it's going to sell for. We don't control that.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes, Borino, let me ask you this. Let's say you recommend a certain price point, and we want to maybe push it up just a little bit so we have room for negotiation.
Again, I would go back to the discussion we had earlier. We don't control the price. Of course, we'll leave a little bit of room for negotiation. That makes sense. Everybody wants to get a good price. The buyer wants to get a good deal, and you want to walk away with a price that you feel was fair. So let me show you what I believe would be the best price and the most likely sales price. Now here's where your expertise comes in. That's very important, Mark. You must be an expert. You must really know the market well enough to be on. You cannot be off. It must be accurate.
Sure.
Make sense?
Yes.
This has more to do with how much they trust you than what you say. It is not in the language itself. The words I'm going to give you make very little difference. Because if they trust you, if they like you and respect you, and if what you're saying is backed up by some data,
Right.
and if you deliver it with confidence, where you know absolutely what you're talking about, then price is not an issue.
Sure. Sure. One final question for
Yeah.
you, Borino. When you consult with sellers, and let's say you recommend a certain price point, during your listing presentation, do you engage anything relating to possible price reductions after a certain point in time?
I don't. And I tell you why, Mark, because it immediately positions me as I am not as confident about the price as I should be.
Okay.
Now, have I had overpriced listings? You bet your ass I have. Unfortunately, yes, everybody did.
Sure.
But going in with an exact price that you feel will serve them well, and you can say, Mark, this is really, if this was my mother's house, and you don't know my mother, but if it was my mom's house, this is the list price, here's what it's going to sell for.
Sure.
Whether you're comfortable with it, whether you like it, whether you understand it, appreciate it, want it, doesn't matter. If I had a magic wand and could get you extra $20,000, believe me, I would.
Sure.
But here's what's going to happen. If we overprice the property today, not only are we going to lose the best buyers out there, we're going to use marketing time. And then we're going to end up selling it for less because it's going to become a stale listing.
That's a good point.
Which would be the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do, is get as much cash as possible into your pocket. But in order for me to do that, we got to be priced well from the beginning.
Exactly.
You don't want to end up being a switch listing. Have you ever heard that term, Mark? Anybody else ever mentioned that?
You know, I've never really heard it. I'm just going to assume that you list it at a certain price point and then just hit the sellers down for price reduction?
Switch listing means your property will be still shown, but agents will use it because they will compare it to another home that's priced better.
Sure.
And when they say, well, if you like this one for $550, wait till I show you one down the street for $525.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? That you don't want to be that.
Sure.
Okay? I mean, there are several ways you can approach it. A lot of it has to do how much connection you have with the seller. If you do the presentation right, some of these things will still pop up. Not many. They shouldn't really come up. Because by the end of your presentation, that should be quick, by the way, your presentation should not go over 25, maybe 30 minutes tops. They should understand where they stand and why. And the only decision they have to make right now is this enough to get us where we want to go?
Sure.
Okay?
All right. Well, listen, you know what? I think I'm gonna get your listing presentation course.
Give it a try. I think it's the best product I've ever produced. I really like it because people who use it, and it's funny because I have new agents who've never done listing presentations, so they don't have any bad habits. They don't know better. They pick it up, they customize it, they present it, and they go, man, this is really easy.
Yeah.
That's the usual response I get. So here's what you're going to get. And again, I don't want to sell you guys on it, but here's what it is. You're going to get a set of slides. You can use it with PowerPoint, or you can use it with Keynote. You can use it on your iPad. It works on an iPad.
Okay.
Then you're going to watch a series of videos. where we're going to go together through a sailor psychology. A lot of the stuff we talked about today is just kind of the tip of the iceberg of we delve deep inside of what makes people tick. Why is it that they like some agent, they don't like somebody else? Why is it that they trust somebody, they don't trust somebody else? And how you can influence them ethically, of course. How you walk them through this process, how you prepare before the presentation. We talk a lot about first impression. We talk about fears, what people really are afraid of. And then how you take them on this journey during your presentation. Plus, you're going to watch me do a presentation live. Afterwards, you're going to watch another video where I dissect it for you. I'll say, okay, watch me here, I do this. Here, this is why I say this. Here, this is why I point to that. So I'll walk you through the whole thing step by step. It's pretty cool. All right, so give it a shot. Let me know how it works for you, Mark.
I certainly will, and I do appreciate your time, Borino.
Good deal. Nice chatting with you.
Nice chatting with you.
Thank you. That was Mark, and I don't have a caller ID here, but you're next. Area code 703. Welcome to the Borino Tune-Up. How are you?
Hey, Borino. This is Stella from Virginia. How are you?
I'm doing great, Stella, and you?
I'm doing really well. The question that I have for you is in regards to when you make that personal visit, you drop and you knock on the door, they're not at home,
yeah.
You leave the package, 2 days later you come again and knock on the door. That's where I am really stumbling with the first face-to-face, but they've already received my package. That's
okay.
where I'm really stuck in creating that initial trust. How do I get them to trust me? I don't know how to open the 2 days later, and they've already received my package.
So you drop off the package one day, nobody home, you
yes.
left it there, you go back 2 days later, am I right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
And I don't know how to initial the conversation with them at that point.
Hi, Stella, Borino with ABC Real Estate. I'm sure I'm not the first one who stopped by about your house today, am I? Am I the first agent talking to you about it?
Okay.
That's it?
No. So just go into, because I've started with, did you receive my package?
Don't start with that.
And yeah, and I'm like, I blow it.
No, don't start with that at all. Stick with the dialogue. It's
Okay,
engaging,
stick with the
it's
dialogue.
different. Yes, and then throughout the conversation, if it does come up, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. Because at that point, the package is really not that important. It is a differentiating factor at a certain point, but not during your conversation with them. Does it make sense, Stella?
Okay. Yes, it does. It totally does. So
Good.
I was complicating it.
Yes. And that's okay.
All
Hey,
right.
just the fact
All
that
right.
you're going out there and talking to people means you're on the right track. Just we can fine-tune it a little. So that's a good point.
Okay.
All right?
Great. All right.
Thanks,
you,
Stella.
Borino.
Nice
Appreciate
chatting
it.
with you. Thank you.
All right.
All right. 407 area code. Welcome to the Borino Show. How are you guys? Who is this? Hello? Let's see. No. 407, can you hear me? Welcome to the Borino Show. Hey, you guys, if you want to call, 805-399-1200. The code of this conference is 143153#. And then you have to do, just hit *6 on your phone, and it's going to put you in the queue. And we're going to chat. It's Borino. Welcome. Good calls so far, right? There's a little bit of a delay between the live feed of the video and the call, so you might get a little confused. But I have somebody from area code 407. Can't hear me. So I guess we're just going to move on to the next one. So what do you guys think? Good stuff so far? Are you learning? Is it helpful? So let me give you some points before we take on the next caller. Where are the leads right now? The spring market is coming. So what do you have to do?
Next questioner.
Thanks for the reminder. Let me see, who do we have here? Area code 310. Who is this?
Hi, it's Neil Singerman. How are you?
Neil, my good man, how are you doing? Can you hold on just a second? I'm going to just go over the sources of the leads, and then I'll pick up your line in just a second. Would that be all right?
Got it.
All
You
right.
got it.
My man Neil, you guys know Neil. Here's the rockstar agent you see on the DVDs you get with the Expired Plus. He's the agent I talked to. Really good friend. We go way back. So what are some of the things you can do right now? This is the time to start ramping up. And the reason for that is we work in 30-day cycles. Okay? What does 30-day cycle mean? Well, that should be 0, 30, 60, and 90. 30-day cycles. the results you're getting right now, the number of listings you have, the number of pending transactions you have, the number of buyers you're working with, the number of closings you have, the number of escrows transactions closing, is a result of what you did 90 days ago. Right here. Your focus, your expectations, your beliefs, your actions 90 days ago. Can you guys see it? I just want to make sure you can see it. Yeah, okay, good. 90 days ago are results of today. Okay? So it takes 90 days of the consistent focus, expectations, beliefs, and actions. So, here we are today. March 20 what? What is today? March 15th. Okay. So 3/15. What you're going to do today, your focus, expectations, beliefs, and actions, consistent actions, will show up as business 90 days from now. So June. Okay? So all the listings, all the transactions, all the commissions in June are the result of what you're going to do today. Which means today is the time to say, shit, up till this point, my business is not where I want it to be, and that's okay. You are where you are, and where you are is where you are. You can't change that right now. But you can change where you're going to be on June 15th. And it's going to happen today. Can it happen faster? Yeah, of course. You're going to see incremental results quicker. But overall, it is a 90-day cycle. That's how this business operates. I've seen it in my business. I've seen it in thousands of my students' business. That's how it is. So where you put your focus, expectations, beliefs, and actions today, you will reap the benefits 90 days from now, or lack thereof. So now, knowing that, where is the business right now? There are 3 things I want you to do immediately so that June, come summer, you're a rock star. You have transactions, you have money going in, you have plenty of moolah. So where do we start? Number 1, start with expireds. I know market is not the hottest for expireds, but it also means that if you pick up a good property, it's going to sell. Expireds. And that includes new, old withdrawn off the market, and canceled listings. Start with them. Start a mailing campaign. Go see as many as you can. Knock on the door. Talk to people. Talk to people. If you don't do anything else but talk to people, if you do it with the connection we've been talking about all session today, you're going to get leads. You're going to get listings. Especially if you come from a position of somebody who is just there to help with no agenda, high status. So start with the expireds. Go through the MLS. Even if you talk to them before, even if you mail them something before, doesn't matter. Don't get stuck on details. Go reach them. Number 2, leads. Every single lead you have on your system, on your contact management system, whether it's 10 or 100, doesn't matter. Contact every single one of them. Call them. Visit them. Have a conversation. Don't rely on some silly postcard to get your job done. That is not the idea. Tools like direct mail are helpful, and sometimes the only means to communicate with the sellers or leads in general. But don't rely on passive methods alone. People are just too busy. They're too distracted. They're lazy. They won't pick up the phone in most cases. Have conversations. Number 3, your SOI, sphere of influence, referrals. Referrals. Start talking to your sphere of influence. And not one of those lames, I'm never too busy for your referral. Bullshit, please don't do that. Everybody else does it. It's lame, it's cheesy. You don't want to be that person. I guarantee you somebody in your family, your friend or somebody in your family at one point or another joined one of those spectacular multi-level marketing companies. I'm not going to name any, but you know what I'm talking about. And then they annoy the living shit out of you. You don't want to be that. So be cool about it. Be cool. But here are 4 things everybody on your SOI needs to know. And I'm going to switch the color just for additional effect. Multimedia. Here we go. Right, here are the 4 things everybody in your SOI. That includes your family, your friends, your neighbors, co-workers of your spouse, parents of the children that your children hang out with, school, everybody. Everybody needs to know 4 things. You ready? Here we go. Number 1, who you are. Who you are. Number 2, how to get in touch with you. All right? How to get in touch with you. Your email, your phone number. Number 3, what you do. What do? You help buyers, you help sellers. I help sellers get the most money possible for their property and sell quickly with least amount of problems. I help first-time buyers find their dream house and negotiate a great price for them. That's what you do. And number 4, why you can be trusted. Key, trusted. That means if somebody does send you a referral, you're not going to screw it up. You're not going to burn them. You're going to do a good job for them. So they don't look stupid in front of their friend or colleague or whoever they refer you. So those are the 4 things they need to know. Who you are, how to get in touch with you, what you do, and why you can be trusted. If you focus on all these 3, now you can add a bonus to it. If you do for sale by owner, start going after them. Spring market, more people start thinking about selling. Good time to start hitting FSBOs as well. So that would be the bonus. This is where the leads are right now. This is where the seller leads are right now. Tons of people. Spring, they'll be ready. Because remember, 90-day cycle. They want to move during the summer. They start thinking about it now. You start locking them right now. Not everybody will be ready to list immediately. That's okay. Your first job at the beginning is to build enough trust with them, build enough relationship with them. So whenever they are ready, you're their only logical choice. Because they like you, they trust you, and they respect you the most. Notice how I keep going back to that trust. How that is really the essential key to your success. It's your ability to develop enough trust by being an expert, being trustworthy, being cool, being high status, not being a needy, pushy salesperson. All right, guys? So these are the things you can do. Simple approach. You don't need elaborate systems, expensive systems, complicated marketing. Don't need any of that. Go talk to people. Mail them something. Go visit them. There's business out there. Plenty of business out there. All right? Now, let's go back to my man Neil. Hey, Senor Neil. How are things in Southern California?
It's 80 degrees, so it's going to be 90 tomorrow. So
God
sorry to
damn you.
I have 2 questions.
Yes.
One, on the non-owner occupied, I was talking to a friend last night, and she said that agents had very, very good success in contacting or mailing non-owner occupied. I don't remember. Do you have something in your package for that we can send to individuals that own a house but they don't live in the area?
You can use the same approach. And the reason, well, you modify it slightly. I mean, you cannot say, you know, in this city if they don't live there. So use your judgment, edit it a little bit. But think about it this way. Underneath their reason to sell is still just an emotion. Even if it's an investment property, even if it's an investor who owns apartment buildings, why are they selling? What is it really that causes them to sell? And you say profit, and I say yes on the surface, but what is it underneath? There is a need. There is either pain or pleasure driver underneath it just as much. As if it's a first-time buyer, first-time seller, it's all the same thing. It's because that's how human psyche, that's how we're wired. That's how our system operates. You know what I mean? It's not any different. It's just going to be a different core driving emotion. It can be a sense of security, it can be prestige, it can be all kinds of things. It can be they're driven as an investor to make profit because something drives them. So using the same sequence and the same new letters, the 4.0 version letters we just rolled out, so you're going to get updates on it, all of you guys who have the 3.0, you're going to get them. Just use them. Modify them a little bit, but overall don't overthink it. The fact that you mail them, the fact that you call them, the fact that you visit them if you can. Now, sometimes I know that's not possible if they live out of the area.
Yeah, it's impossible if they don't live. I'm talking about people like maybe living where you are in Virginia.
Okay.
And they have a house in Southern California. I mean, I run into them that are out of the area.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to meet them, but of course they want to know what the price of the house is.
Exactly.
And I don't get to see it. I mean, I can drive by and take a look at it, but that's.
Now, here's the cool thing, Neil, about out of the area sellers. Many times, having a liability, especially on the other side of the country, is a huge burden for them. And it means they're losing money on it. It's stressful. It's costly to do the maintenance, to secure the property, whatever else is going on. So you often talk to a very motivated seller.
Yes,
You
very
know?
much so.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Did they answer your question?
Yes, you did. Okay. My
Mail
other
them,
question
mail
you
them
touched
stuff
on
like,
earlier was
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but just kind of summarize what you can send them. In the addition to the letters in the Expired Plus, send them just listed, just sold. Market updates work really, really well. Just a quick summary, what's going on in the neighborhood. Active listings, pendings, and sold. That works beautifully.
That, I think that would be better with a letter and just saying that I see your house is off the market. Want to keep you abreast. And that, with a two-tier letter, maybe on the first letter, that may get them instead of waiting for the second letter to send a market update.
Yeah, and I tell you, one of the most powerful letters you can send is the dollar letter, the Russian mafia letter. That works like gangbusters.
Which letter is that?
It's a 4.0. It's in the 4.0. It's a brand new letter called the Russian mafia letter.
I don't have that yet.
You will get that. Everybody that is on 3.0, you will get a free update to the 4.0 letters.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. All right, and the other question you touched on earlier was the older expireds. What's the tweak on the beginning thing that, I'm the first one calling about your home? They haven't been on the market for 6 months or a year.
The only modification you make to the script is, are you still getting calls from other agents?
Okay, all right.
And then you tie it in directly with it. It's kind of crazy, right? Where were these people when the house was up for sale? First nothing, and all of a sudden everybody wants to list their house. They have a buyer for you.
Okay.
That's it.
That's all I needed to get from you today, and you're
Cool.
always helpful.
Cool.
Thank you.
Glad I could help, Neil. Appreciate the call.
You're welcome.
That's my man Neil, the rockstar agent. All right, who is next? Hi, it's Borino. Welcome to the show.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Who is this?
Hey, this is Gare Borino. How are you?
Who is this? I'm sorry?
Gare from Florida.
Gare from Florida. How are you doing? Beautiful Sunshine State. Nice.
Yes, it is. It is. Hey, I have a question, which is when a seller asks, how are you different from other agents, or what should I list with you? What should be a good answer to provide?
Really good question. When do they ask this? During my initial conversation or during my listing presentation?
No, during the conversation.
During the conversation. Okay. What they're really asking
I
you...
haven't been in that position yet, but I'm just wonder if that's happened.
That's a really good question, and it may come up once in a while. It goes back to what we talked about earlier. Can you be trusted? Can you be trusted? Mm-hmm. Can I trust you? Will you really do what you say you would? Or are you just another salesperson who is here to make a buck? That's what's underneath that question. And one of the best ways to address it, you call them out. You say, yeah, that's a really good question. I think what you really want to know is, can you trust me? Will I deliver? Will I make your dream come true? Am I right? That's how you initiate that. Call it on it. Bring the real issue out. Don't get stuck just on the surface saying, well, I've been in the business for 20 years, or I work for the largest company in the area. They don't care about that. That is not a differentiating factor. So when they do call you out on how are you any different, first of all, if they do ask you that, that means you're in trouble, because they don't sense you being any different from anybody else in the area, that they talk to. So take that as a slightly red flag, like a warning sign. But it also means you're being considered as one of the agents. They don't just discard you by saying, we're going to think it over, or we already have an agent in mind. That's just a brush. They're trying to get rid of you. Or when they do ask, well, how are you any different? You say, I tell you how I'm different. I'm going to get this done. I can bore you through half an hour of presentation, how my marketing plan is different, how my advertising is different, but I don't think you really care. I think all you care about is how I'm going to make your dream come true. How can I make it happen so you guys 3 months from now are sitting with your family in your new home in Colorado, enjoying it, send me a thank you note, send me a card, send me a picture, and thank me for a job well done. That's our goal. We're not here to list your property. We're not here even to get it sold. Your dream is to live somewhere else, to feel better, to enjoy it. And I will make that happen. That's what I do for a living. Now say no to that. How do you turn that down as a seller? Right? It's really hard to say, no, I don't want to feel better. I don't want to be with my family. It's not relevant to me. It's not important to me. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, was that helpful?
Yes.
Good. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks.
No, good. Thanks for the call. A really good one. All right, guys. So now, because I promised you, I wanted to tell you real quick about what's coming up. We're going to do a live session. I do about 2 workshops a year live. And, it's one of those, I got to do what I say. I got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. There are certain things even on a great session like this one, I cannot teach you in detail or the way I would like to. You know what I mean? I can't do it on a webinar. I can't do it over the phone. We really need to get together because there is this energy in the room. You pay attention just to what you're learning. There are no distractions. So the 2 workshops I'm going to do, one is coming up in April. And if you're considering it, if you really want to master this quickly, and I like quick results. I don't like sitting around bullshitting for 6 months and hope that it's going to work. You know, I learned this from Tony Robbins. I believe in rapid changes. So we put together a workshop. But it's one of those things where you actually have to be in the water doing this stuff for it to. Okay? Can you guys hear me now? Okay, good. Sorry, my bad. So we lost an audio there. But so here's what we're going to do. We're going to work on how to get more leads, more appointments, and more listings. That's really the idea. Because if you do have...
Next questioner.
Oh, okay. Sorry. If you do have more leads, more appointments, and more good listings, you got a profitable business. It's really that simple. There's nothing else. So we're going to focus on these 3 things. I learned that from my man Tony Robbins, is to make changes quickly. Changes in the way you think, changes in what you believe, what you focus on, and what you do. So I will not teach you selling. I am not good at selling. You notice that the dialogs and scripts I use are not really scripts, and it's definitely not selling. What I mastered was neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and neuroscience, how our psychology, human psychology works. That's really become, that's really become my forte. So you want to get paid, you want more clients, this is for you. We're going to do it for 2 days. 2 days of me training you personally. There'll be no coaches, no speakers, just me, you and I working together in the room on all this, all that stuff. Not just the Expired Plus system, that's really just the beginning. We're going to go beyond that. How to get leads and listings quickly. It's going to be more like a listing boot camp. What it takes to do 3 expireds, 3 listings a month, 4, 5, wherever you want to take it. Now, it is $16.97, that's the regular price. You will know how to get people on the phone, how to communicate with them on the phone. You will know what to do when you meet them face to face, how to go all the way to sign contract. My approach, and you've seen it in the last hour or so, is not to be just another agent begging for a listing, not to get those questions like Gary was saying, how are you any different? You will position yourself from the beginning as the solution to their problem. You will see how to set up a listing appointment. Sometimes it can take 10 minutes. It's possible. Not always, obviously, but it can happen very, very quickly. Because again, it goes back to developing trust, connection, and rapport with them. You will see in 3 steps, you can totally crush your competition. There'll be no competition once you implement these systems. And you can automate the whole thing, so you don't have to sit there Monday morning scratching your head what you're going to do that week. All right, we're going to talk about phone, do not call registry. I will give you some direct mail secrets, because sometimes that's really the only way you communicate with the sellers. And power tricks of a great follow-up. A lot of your business will come from follow-up, from developing the relationship and connection with the sellers. So on day 1, we build a 12-month plan to get you where you want to be, beyond just making money, but how to develop an ideal lifestyle. How to do the first contact, tools, dialogue, strategies, everything, the whole package, step by step. You know what to do, you will know what to say, you will know how, the whole thing. So here are just some of the strategies. The seller psychology. What is the differentiator? What is the deflector shield? This works really well if you have a difficult seller or a lot of objections. How is the compliance principle applied? So they go these baby steps along with you saying, yes, 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 we want help. Yes, help us. Yes, where do we sign? Yes, let's go. And the objection buster. Although once you do this well, there won't be that many objections. Then on day 2, we're just going to go beyond just the expireds. We're going to talk about principles that you can apply to FSBOs, sphere of influence, open house leads, web leads. It doesn't matter. How to go from contact to connection to control to a signed contract. And you will learn the power questions. There are about 15 of them. Super powerful way of communicating to really deciphering what is their core driving emotion. What is the real emotion that's driving them to make the move. You're going to learn the bridge method, how to bridge from having a conversation to bridging to appointment to bridging to signed contract to moving on. The power of discipline, why is that important? Advanced follow-up tactics and the secret of success. So you're going to master the system personally by me. You will know what to say. You will know how to say it. It's going to be a cool group. We're going to have about 45, maybe 50 people at the most in the room. So there'll be a lot of synergy. There'll be a lot of brainstorming. There'll be a lot of Q&As. A lot of opportunity to try it. One of the things we're going to do, we're going to actually get on the phone and call people. Call for sale by owners, call expired listings, do some follow-up calls as well. So you will not only learn the theory, but you're going to get a taste of a practical implementation. I'll be right there next to you, coaching you through the call. So I expect you to get results while we're in the boot camp over the weekend. All right, so this will be live. 48 agents. Now we do have about 15 spots left, I think. Half of them is about sold. You will have the opportunity to practice, watch others, ask questions, and you will know what it takes to get more leads, more appointments, and more listings. Now, doing it actually will be up to you. I can't do that for you. The Expired Plus system is included because some of the methods and some of the tools we're going to use from it will be part of it. Something that's interests you, please go to goborino.com. It's going to be on April 26th and 27th, Saturday and Sunday here in DC, Hyatt Regency. We're going to be about 4 or 5 miles from the White House in DC, right next to the Ronald Reagan National Airport. Now, as far as the price, I have a special discount. This is extended to people who are on this webinar, who are my subscribers, who are my clients. You're going to get $1,000 discount. So to you guys, the all-inclusive price is $697. Go to goborino.com, check it out, sign up. The code you need to use is webinar. It's going to take $1,000 off, and I hope to see you in DC. Now, if you are my Expired Plus or Success Plus client, if you already have the Expired Plus from me, I appreciate you guys. You're cool clients. So we're going to give you an extra little thank you gift, another $200 off. So for you guys, it's only $497, and the code is Borino fan. Couldn't come up with a better one. So that's it. This is why we're doing this, for your lifestyle. More than just doing it for a few deals. This is beyond just getting a few listings. This is about really taking it further, building a lifestyle you want for you, your family, your kids maybe, your spouse. No more struggle. That's why we're doing that. All right? Hope to see you in DC. Let's see, we had one more question. Is there anybody? Natalia. Isn't it Natalia? Can you hear me?
It's me.
Hi, Natalia.
Yeah, Borino, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
All right.
Weeks ago, I purchased your Expired Plus system, and I started using it, and I'm very excited. So here's my 2 questions. One of them, I'm at door and I talked to seller.
Yeah.
And the listed agent was related to this seller. In this case, have I followed them or just drop them off?
I would still keep in touch with them. I would definitely initiate the conversation with them, especially if it's an expired listing. That means there's...
I had really good conversation with them.
Okay.
And I give even them to expired package.
Yes.
But when I found out that the agent who tried to sell their house related to them, and I had thoughts after, should I continue follow them by mail or...
No, talk to them, talk to them, talk to them. Mail will support it. Mail will be the auxiliary supportive means of communication, but where the power, where the magic really happens is you on the phone or preferably you in person having a face-to-face conversation with them.
Okay.
And the fact that they were listed with a friend doesn't mean much, especially if the property didn't sell, goes to show you that the other agent was incompetent, didn't get the job done. So you have a very good chance of locking a good listing.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
My second big question.
Yeah.
In other expire, which I talked to them elsewhere, they said that probably they will release their property with the current agent. So then I had a short conversation with him, and then he mentioned something, probably he's going to look for another agent as well.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, should I follow them?
Absolutely yes.
Okay.
Unless they actually sign the contract, the game is on. The game is on. You're in the running, no matter what they say. Because very often they don't even know what they're going to do. They mean well. These are not bad people. These are cool people. They need help. In their head, they think they're going to relist with their current agent. They often crosses their mind because there is a certain level of trust and relationship with them. But if a good agent like you comes in, high status, comfortable, confident, and competent, who develops good connection with them, you totally have a great chance of locking in the listing. No question about it. Yes?
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much.
Rock and roll. Let me know how it turns out, all right?
Okay.
Keep me posted. All right. That's Natalia. And let's see, who's next? Man, I am losing my eyesight. I can't even read without my glasses. All right. Who is this? Hello? Is this George?
Oh, hey, George.
George, my man, how you doing?
Great, man.
How are you enjoying the call?
So far.
Huh?
Yeah, great stuff so far. I'm
Good.
enjoying it, really enjoying it.
Good. George just graduated from my Confident Communication program. We wrapped up yesterday. It was a good one, wasn't it? We had a good time.
Awesome.
Cool.
Learned a lot of great information. And I just want to say your listing presentation is top, second to none. This
Thank
is the
you.
first time I used it, I got the listing. So
Nice.
I appreciate that. Question, the follow-up. What are you using to stay on track with the follow-up?
Oh, very good question, George. I'm glad you brought that up. How do we follow up with these people? Okay. Before we can get into follow-up, there is one important element that you need to know. And that is, who is your lead? George, I'm going to mute your phone because there's a little bit of a static. So I'm going to bring you back online, okay? Just sit tight. All right. So here we go. So you have two types of leads. So we have leads. Can you guys see that? Okay, good. We're still in frame. Let me switch the camera here. All right. So there are two types of leads that you have. And this is important because your follow-up will be different based on who you have. There are active, actual, and there are potential. So these are active leads. That means you're working them actively. Actual and potential. Both good leads. Both can result in listings. Both can result in business. But you need to know the basic difference. And this is just one difference there. Makes all the difference in the world. Actual lead, you had a conversation with. That means you talk to them, either on the phone or in person. Whatever the outcome was doesn't matter. But there was a conversation, you understand at least a little bit about their situation. With a potential lead, there was no conversation. So you don't know their situation yet. You still follow up with them, you still go visit them if you can, drop off the package, it's a FSBO, you call them, you email them, whatever means of communication you have. But here's one critical difference, and that is this. Call to action is different. With the actual lead, your call to action is, let's get together for an appointment. Okay? Let's get an appointment. Let's list the property. That's your call to action. Whether on the phone, in person, or your marketing materials that you're sending them. That's the call to action. You want to get, that's your objective, is to get an appointment. With the potential leads, it's to have a conversation. To have a conversation with them. Because you can't jump to an appointment if you don't even know what their situation is. What is their core driving emotion? What are the circumstances? Can they sell? Are they willing to sell? Are they ready to sell? What are the conditions? Where are they going to go next? How bad do they want it? What is the pain and pleasure drive? In other words, core driving emotion. You need to know that. Because if you don't know that, you're shooting in the dark. You don't know if you have a motivated seller, reasonable seller, realistic seller, or seller at all. Okay? So that's the core difference in the follow-up. You must know, is it an actual lead or a potential lead? Now, potential lead can immediately become an actual lead. All you have to do is just talk to them. Either they call you or you call them. But there must be a conversation first. There must be some kind of communication first before they can turn into an actual lead and then immediately into a lead that becomes a client, a customer. So, did that answer your question, George? What's the difference? So now, what is your specific question, George, in terms of the follow-up itself? Or is there?
Yeah. I was asking what system are you using, like Top Producer or?
Okay.
What are you using?
Definitely automated. Definitely, you want it automated. You absolutely want to have an automatic system in place because it's easier to set it up if you have 10 leads, but as you get busier, especially now with more leads coming on the market, more listings, you must have a program that will do that for you, that will keep in touch with these people for you. So you're going to set up a couple of campaigns, one for actual leads and one for potential leads. Now, the software I recommend is Realty Juggler. Realty Juggler. Really good program, very inexpensive. If you haven't used it, haven't had a chance to check it out, check it out. These are some good guys, Quinn and Scott and these boys that run it. Previous agents, so they know what an agent needs, the tools you need, called Realty Juggler. You're going to get a free 3-month trial. If you need a coupon, contact us. We even have an agreement with them. We're an affiliate, so if you do come aboard, we get paid. Woohoo! Make a lot of money. No, we don't. I'm joking. But we are affiliated with them, and I totally believe in their product. But there are others. You can use Top Producer, which is nice, but it's kind of like a Mercedes. It's pretty pricey, and frankly, most of the tools that they offer are cool, but I don't think you're going to really ever use them or need them. But there are others. Check out Realty Juggler. Check out others. I don't recommend for follow-up to use company proprietary programs. And the reason for that is one day you decide to leave, or one day something happens with the company goes under, or anything can happen. You don't want your company, which may be a fine organization, but you don't want them to control your leads, your customers, all the information. You want to have direct access to it yourself. So you run your company as a business. It's your business. Yes, it's great to work for a good franchise. It's nice to have a good broker and a support group and other agents in the office. But at the end, it is your business, your company, and your responsibility. So use your own program that you like. Check out Realty Juggler. I think you're going to like it. Did that answer your question, George?
Oh, absolutely. Thanks so much.
Good question. All right, my friends. And George was our last call today. I really enjoyed talking with you guys. I really appreciate all the cool calls. It was really a good session today. We covered a lot of good stuff today. And I appreciate you being here. Hopefully I get a chance to see you in DC on the 27th, on the 26th and the 27th of April. If you have any questions, fire off an email. My email is, let me put it on the board. It is Borino at expiredplus.com. Shoot me an email. You may have a question, something we didn't cover today. Borino at expiredplus.com. And with that, my friends, I wanted to say thank you. Appreciate you being here. We have a couple of new things coming pretty soon. First, of course, the live bootcamp here in DC in April. Then we're going to do WO listings online bootcamp, and there's going to be a summer session, how to do a killer listing presentation live again here in DC. So if any of that interests you, fire off an email, borino@expiredplus.com. I'll be happy to talk to you. With that, I wish you all a lovely weekend. For those of you that are enjoying lovely warm weather, enjoy and appreciate it. It's a little chilly here on the East Coast, but still nice. Anyway, glad you were here today with me. We're going to do this again. I love doing these for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing this for you. This is your coach, Borino, saying thank you very much for being here. I'll talk to you real soon. Let's go get 'em.